If you've ever felt like you're putting off creating because you think there's something you need to do or buy first, this one's for you. Okay, I'm doing my best to make this seem like not a hostage video, but you might have noticed I'm not in my usual recording space, both physically and mentally. And that can be hard for me as far as maintaining my normal workflow. For the whole month of July, I'll be in Virginia Beach, where I grew up. I looked into renting a space to set up my drums and also record the podcast and videos, but nothing really met my needs or fit my budget. Plus, I'm supposed to be on vacation. I came here to spend time with my family, so minimizing the amount of time I'm recording and editing is important. So I'm trying to balance that with staying consistent with the podcast and on YouTube. The last episode I did on quitting was an example of this. Most of my episodes are around 20 minutes, and this one came in at less than 8. But that's okay. Honestly, I felt a little weird posting it, but I know I've seen tons of YouTube videos that are under 10 minutes. If the content is good, if it's useful to someone, that's really what matters. And making it shorter meant that every step of the process was shorter. Less recording, less editing, less writing. And I'm already thinking about doing a more in-depth follow-up episode when I get back to Iceland. But today, I'm thinking about how we can always think of a reason to wait. We can always think of a reason why it would be better to have a better setup, more experience, more expertise. If only we had more room or more time, then we could really get to work. And I'm guilty of this too. The hardest thing is when we're starting or thinking about starting. It's so easy to go down rabbit holes on the internet these days, researching the best way to do anything. And there's nothing wrong with research, but it can easily turn into a way to put off actually doing the thing. That feeling of wishing we had more experience or expertise, really the only way to get that is by doing the thing we're putting off. The quickest way to get better at anything is by trying to do it. None of us start off being a total badass. We all have to start somewhere. Actually, I think this is one of the curses that social media has bestowed upon us. That feeling that we need to come out of the gates being a superstar. That dread that everyone we know is looking at this and thinking, yeah, it's not really that good. I was watching an interview the other day with the Swedish artist Louise Stiegel, who totally quit social media and is now only on YouTube. She was saying how nice it was to start her art career on YouTube and not get any views, or not a lot of views, but just feeling this freedom to just try things and fail. And that's exactly what we all need to do in our creative endeavors, trial and error. But is taking action, any action, better than more preparation? There's the saying about the lumberjack who said that if his life depended on cutting down a tree in 5 minutes, he would spend 3 minutes sharpening his axe. I love that saying, but he's not saying if I had to cut down a tree at some point, I would first Google trees and find out exactly what kind of tree it was, and then I would go on Amazon and find the perfect axe for that tree, but one that was in my budget, but it can't be too cheap, and it's got to be aesthetically pleasing because, hey, it's me, the lumberjack. After hours of scrolling, I finally found the perfect axe, but hey, what's the best way to sharpen an axe anyway? After watching the 25 videos that YouTube has on the subject, wait, actually now the tree's bigger, and this axe is way too lightweight for that kind of tree. I'm going to send back the first axe. Wait, maybe I should research chainsaws. And scene. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Preparation is part of our process as creative people, but we can't let it take over. But what about the feeling of wanting more experience and expertise? This is an interesting one because I actually don't think it's possible to gain expertise without actually doing the thing. We can't become an expert without experience. But should that even be the goal? In a way, I hope I never become an expert because that implies that I'm done learning, or I think I'm done learning. And I don't ever want to be done learning. Sometimes I question the whole idea of expertise. I mean, the world is constantly changing, so whatever expertise we thought we had a minute ago is already expired. That's a whole other episode. But to gain experience and expertise, we have to actually engage in the creative pursuit. So using that as an excuse not to start makes no sense. Okay, if we're holding out for a better setup, whether that's better gear or a better workspace, we can't let that slow us down. Having a less than ideal setup forces us to use our problem solving skills to figure out a way to make it work. Maybe we need to embrace the limitations that we have in order to find other possibilities that we maybe wouldn't have thought of otherwise. The photographer Chase Jarvis once said, "The best camera is the one you have on you." And I think we can apply that more broadly to any aspect of our setup. The best drum set is the one that's available. The best workspace is the one you have access to. When Vincent van Gogh couldn't afford paint, he just made his own with whatever he could find. We have to push ahead with whatever we have. It's okay to want to upgrade and make improvements, but we can't let that hold us back from getting the experience that will enrich our lives and serve as the foundation for our future work. So when I decided to minimize these episodes while I'm traveling, that's a way to just push through and do the thing somehow. It's not going to be as well lit and as tightly edited. It's not going to go as deep as I would like to, but at least I'm doing it. And I think the limitation of doing shorter, more raw versions makes me more concise. Maybe I focus on getting right to the point instead of making sure that the fill light is at the right angle. In some ways, the work becomes more developed because of the limitations. Use what you've got. Don't let your limitations prevent you from realizing your ideas. Embrace the limitations and incorporate them into your process. As I said, these are going to be on the shorter side until I get back to Iceland, and I'd love to hear what you think about the stripped down format in the comments. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can go to the YouTube version and leave me a comment there. I'll put a link to it in the description. That's all I've got for today. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep the flow.